Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, Iraq has been doing a really good job at staying out of conflicts, staying out of trouble. With an election coming up, are they going to be able to continue on the straight and narrow? And if al-Sadani doesn't win, you're looking at months before they choose another PM. And if a new PM takes over Iraq, what other kind of hassles are we going to have to deal with? Let's go ahead and get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. Case in point, Iran's takeover of Iraq threatens mass Christian exodus. Now, we know Trump is a religious man, and he's very into Christianity. If something starts happening to Christians over in Iraq, this could be big trouble for Iraq, regardless who the PM is. Look at Iran's pressure on Christian communities in Iraq is escalating, now threatening their very existence. The principal military component of Iran's grip on Iraq, the Popular Mobilization Forces, has supposedly come under greater scrutiny from the Iraqi government. Yet Iran's assaults on Iraq's Christian communities are only increasing. Any scrutiny by the Iraqi government, such as the likely insincere discussions about the disarmament and dissolution of the PMF, is undermined by Iran's recent provision of long-range missiles to these militia. In the broader context of the ongoing negotiations between the U.S. and Iran, promises to disband the PMF would be an obvious ploy for Iran to defer scrutiny while reconstituting its proxies amid recent losses inflicted by the U.S. and its regional partners. Even if Iran appears to accommodate the U.S. for these purposes, its recent activities in Iraq demonstrate a continuous resolve to hijack vulnerable states, as in Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen. What is the Iraqi government to do? We're less than a year away from November elections. I don't think al-Sadani wants to do anything to rock the boat, whether that's pissing off his supporters or pissing off the coordinating framework or members within the coordinating framework, pissing off Sauder. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to be taken into consideration. It goes on to say that Christians in Iraq are oppressed through the weaponization of what should be legal protection for Christians. The architect of this effort is al-Qadani, a despotic warlord sanctioned by the U.S. for human rights abuses. So he previously led the Babylon Brigades, a nominally Christian militia controlled by Iran, but has since switched to politics as leader of the Babylon Movement Party. Its militia and its associated party are Christians in name only, deriving from support from the Iraqi Shia community through coercion and the abuse of loopholes in Iraq's election laws that allow non-Christians to elect representatives for seats specifically designed for Christians. The Babylon Movement has seized many positions at various levels of the Iraqi federal government. So you can see governments around the world are all corrupt. They just act like they're Christians just so they can occupy the Christian seats. So this could escalate into something bad. There's no way in how Trump's going to allow Christians to be tortured and killed. Well, in the best case scenario, nothing happens. In the worst case scenario, Trump gets pissed off and starts sanctioning Iraq all over again. So this has been talked about recently amongst the content creator. 90% of Iraq's money supply held outside banks. So this isn't good, because if they don't have enough dinars to work their economy, the economy is going to be limited in growth. If you don't have your dinars to do things, in my opinion, this would be the excuse they're going to need to go ahead and go to a digital currency. You see right here, Erbil, Kurdistan region, nearly 90% of the Iraqis' money supply is held outside the formal banking sector, largely hoarded in homes. A senior financial advisor to the Iraqi premier told the news. The vast leakage of cash poses a serious challenge to the country's financial stability and long-term economic growth. Well, I don't know about you guys, but if they want to raise the exchange rate just a little bit, I'm sure there's a huge group of us who'd be more than happy to send a lot of Iraqi dinars back to the country. Saleh, advisor to the Prime Minister, al-Sadani, stated that the hoarding of cash, while historically common, has reached critical levels, with leakage rates between 87 and 90%. He explained that a large portion of the currency is in circulation is held outside banks. And again, most people hoard their dollars because they don't trust the banks. They don't trust the government. This has happened before many times. Can you imagine going all the way back to the 90s, whether through conflict Whether through terrorist occupation, one reason or another, their money has always been stolen out of the bank, which screws over their customers. According to a senior financial advisor, the exceptionally high rate of cash held outside banks is largely driven by public distrust of financial institutions. And I'm wondering what the percentage is of dinars that are being held by investors. Other reasons include religious and culture factors, including the fear of engagement of usury interest that is prohibited in Islam, and the general unfamiliarity with banking services, Saleh added. Pointing to the unbalanced financial landscape, Saleh noted that while the economy has ample liquidity, banks themselves are liquidity poor. The government faces similar challenges, and meanwhile, the public holds large cash surpluses that are effectively idle. But this has been an ongoing problem for a very, very long time. What we don't want to see them do is keep printing money, because then that devalues the Iraqi dinar. That's why when they're offering their citizens, some pretty high interest rates, if they opened up a savings and deposited their currency at the bank. I don't know if you guys remember this, must have been last year, maybe a year and a half ago, when they're offering somewhere around the neighborhood of 8% per year. I wish they'd do that here in the United States, man. Trying to do whatever it takes to get their currency back into the banks. But like I said, if they want to just increase that exchange rate just a little bit, we know a ton of people that'd be more than happy to turn into Iraqi dinars. Iraq's prime minister forms new political alliance ahead of November elections. So my issue is this. Al-Sudani had issues with the coordinated framework, who wasn't quite happy with the way he was in charge of things. He wasn't quite doing it the Maliki way, if you get my drift, or the Iranian way. He's actually doing things that help the Iraqi people, and hesitant to be in any kind of conflict, even though they encourage him to do so. So now it's obvious that he's not going to be with the coordinated framework, so him starting a new political group makes sense, but I'm wondering about the members that are involved. Iraqi Prime Minister Al-Sudani has formed a new political alliance with Al-Fayed, head of the Popular Mobilization Force group. That's not a good thing, you guys. The PMF is Iranian-backed. That's a group that the Iran people control. Ahead of the parliamentary elections slated for November the 11th, the move has sparked widespread controversy and raised constitutional concerns over the involvement of security figures in electoral politics. The new coalition, known as the Reconstruction and Development Alliance, love the names that they choose, man. Seriously. Includes one of Al-Sudani's groups, Fahid's National Contract Party, alongside several other political forces. And I'm not going to try to name them all, but you get the idea. One name I do not see up here so far, we do not see Maliki. Just about a month ago, Maliki was re-elected to be the head of his political party. The Daiwas, I think is how you say it. So you can see right here, critics have expressed alarm over Fahid's participation, citing his current leadership of the Popular Mobilization Forces, a state-affiliated paramilitary umbrella group. Iraqi electoral law prohibits members of the armed forces and security agencies from political engagement or candidacy unless they resign and observe a cooling-off period. Opposition factions argue that the alliance undermines the separation between military and civilian spheres and sets a dangerous precedent. Well, it seems like people all around the world just don't give a shit about their laws anymore. Since members of the Iranian Aligned Coordinated Framework previously supportive of Al-Sudani has voiced their unease. As you would imagine, members of the Coordinated Framework are pushing for Fahid's removal from the PMF. This coalition may grant Al-Sudani's considerable electoral weight, reshaping the balance of power within the Shiite political camp. Yeah, I just have not seen Maliki's name anywhere on here, which is interesting. But in Al-Sudani's favor, he is seeking a second term, having governed since October of 2022. His administration has been credited with reducing political tensions and improving service deliveries, though critics remain worried of his increasingly alignment with powerful security-linked figures and wasting public resources on buying support. I bet you thought America was the only people that had this problem. As Iraq confronts a volatile domestic landscape and regional uncertainty, including instability in Syria and ongoing Iran-U.S. tensions, the next few months are set to be critical for its democratic and security trajectory. I think with Al-Sudani, we know what to expect, but I was feeling that way about Al-Qadimi. He was ousted, and I thought Al-Sudani was going to be bad for Iraq, but I was really wrong. He ended up being a great prime minister, but I don't live in Iraq. There could be some things we're not hearing about. But I think if we have our way, we'd like to see al-Sudani get back into power and continue pushing Iraq forward into the future and avoiding conflicts at all costs. Anyways, I'm curious to see what you guys think. I look forward to it. I'll get at you later. I'm out.